we're
We're
back.
back.
And
Good.
we are back. So, do you want to do the opening introduction,
Yeah,
please? Yeah.
will do. Welcome to our weekly podcast, The Football Referee, where obviously we discuss all things football. I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me Bruv.
And I'm Emmy Hikins, and he calls me Cuz. Welcome to the football referee. Right. So, there's something that came to light actually, and I've been I've been itching to ask you. So it
Yeah,
was about it was about the Crystal Palace, your Oliver Glasner. And
yeah.
during now I can't remember if it was during the Carabou Cup match or during your one of the weekend Premier League ties. But anyway, it said that Oliver Glasner said he'd quit if Marc Guehi had been sold to Liverpool. Now I didn't know that prior. Is that true? Is there any truth in that?
Sorry, what was the first bit? I didn't hear the first bit of your question. Is it
Yeah.
about
So
Marc Guehi?
if
What
if
did you say?
if Guehi was sold to Liverpool,
Right.
he would quit. He would have quit if Matt Guehi was sold to Liverpool. Is there any
No,
truth in that?
no, there's not. In fact, he did a press conference. I think before the match last Saturday
Right,
against Sunderland, where
right.
we drew 0-0. And he did a press conference, and the first question he addressed was, he said, "No, at no point did I threaten to quit if
Right.
Mark went to Liverpool." So he actually handled that question head on, because there were rumours swirling about that he had expressed the view that if Mark was allowed to go, he would quit. So he obviously didn't threaten that. But what I would
No.
say is that what he said was, he said Steve Parish, obviously the chairman, etc. He said, he asked me, could Mark go? Could we will be okay if he goes at this stage? And he said, I told him without a proper replacement, no, he couldn't. He said, we couldn't cope because we're in Europe this season. Obviously, we're in the Cups and the league and so on. He said, we need him until such time as we can properly replace him. They're clearly, and he was disappointed. I think he admitted as much once or twice previously, that Palace didn't act more quickly in the summer window, and I think a lot of teams do leave it late, but Palace tend to do that, and that annoyed him a bit. So I think it's fair to say that, I think Oliver, who's probably our best ever manager, he's loved by the crowd and by the team, etc. But I think it does concern a lot of us that if if his nose is put out of joint because the owners are not listening to him in terms of the need for an early replacements, for example, of eberechi Eze, who went to Arsenal.
Hmm.
You've got to replace these players if you can. Perhaps not to the same quality necessarily straight away, but I
Hmm.
don't think we want to upset Oliver in the future, because, to be fair, he said, when I said to Steve Parish, no, we won't cope without him as we haven't got a replacement. Steve Parish said, no, okay, we won't sell him at this stage. So he did adhere to what Oliver had said. Interestingly, I mean, I was reading yesterday, I think, that it's not just Liverpool. I think it's becoming a bit possibly less likely that Liverpool may get him, because a lot of other clubs are now, you know, getting involved in this as well. Not least Real Madrid and Barcelona are expressing some interest. He's been
Oh
noticed in
wow.
Europe. And
Yeah.
also Manchester City have expressed interest now. And they even say Manchester United. So he's an excellent player. I mean, he was playing last night. He was substituted last night. He was substituted 15 minutes from the end, because I think Oliver's trying to sort of spread the stress around a bit, the physical stress of the games, because
Hmm.
he's got to keep the best players fit. But yeah, he's majestic. He's only 20, 25, I think. and he's a superb footballer. He's got a great football brain, so you can really see why lots of top teams want him. And clearly, I would imagine he'll go in January. Sad to
Mm.
say, from the club's, the fans' point of view, because you can't easily replace these people. You can't.
Yeah,
We've got some
yeah,
good defenders, to be fair, but Mark is, and he's a great captain as well. He's a great,
yeah,
inspiring captain, and he scores goals. He
yeah.
scored a couple. He scored for England last week, didn't he? So he does score goals. So yeah, but there was no truth in the threat supposedly from Oliver Glasner to leave. No.
Mm. Yeah. Do you know who he reminds me of? Um, Steven Gerrard at Liverpool. In his heydays, anyway. And the comparison that I'm trying to make is he's level-headed. You know,
Mm,
he
yeah.
doesn't get involved in controversies or anything like that.
No.
He's just focused on the game. You won't see him messing about or saying
Mm.
things out of place. He certainly doesn't even get involved in politics, does it?
No, he
He's just
doesn't. No.
he does his thing. So, yeah, I'm quite happy about that. So the next one I
I
was
mean,
gonna go to, yeah,
sorry,
go on.
just to finish that by way of brief background context. His father is a minister, I think, in the Methodist Church. He was definitely a church minister, and I think he was asked. Mark was asked, I think, a few months ago, before the FA Cup final, or perhaps it was the Community Shield, which was on a Sunday. He was asked, "Will your dad come to the Wembley final? It's on a Sunday." And he said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "He does always put God first on a Sunday." He said,
Yes.
"But I'm not going to rule out the possibility that he will come to the match." I believe, I'm not 100% certain, but I believe his dad did go to the match.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow.
so he's obviously had a good upbringing, if we can put it like that, with
Yeah.
a good role model himself, and
Yeah.
he is a super role model for kids, for other footballers,
Yeah.
how to conduct himself. He just is the perfect footballer. You got to
Yeah.
say. In fact, in one way, he reminds me of what Bobby Moore used to be like at West Ham. I mean, he died of cancer, didn't he, some years ago? But you watch some of the old matches when he was playing for England in the World Cup.